Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane and put on trial. There were two types of Jesus' trials. The first were before the religious leaders, where he was accused of breaking the Mosaic law and ultimately blasphemy for claiming to be God. He was then brought before civil leaders such as Pilate and Herod, where he was accused of political crimes, such as claiming to be the people's king. He was sentenced to death and taken by the Romans to be scourged. This was a severe whipping that used a leather whip studded with pieces of bone, lead, or brass. Many people died from the scourging before they even made it to the cross. Jesus was then marched out to Golgotha, where he was crucified. Crucifixion is one of the most torturous methods of execution ever invented. Victims were put in a position where they were unable to breathe. In order to take a breath, they would have to push themselves up, but they were not able to hold that position long, so they would slouch back down, again being unable to breathe. They would continually move up and down along the cross in order to continue breathing. Once they stopped moving, this would indicate to the guards that they were dead, since they were no longer breathing. This is why the guards would sometimes break the legs of their victims in order to speed up their death. With their legs broken, they would no longer be able to push themselves up, and they would die shortly after. While Jesus was on the cross, God poured out the wrath that we deserved upon him. When God's wrath was poured out in full, Jesus breathed his last and died. He was taken down from the cross and buried in a tomb with a giant stone rolled in front of it. On the Sunday after Jesus' crucifixion, some women came to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body with oils when they found the stone rolled away and the tomb empty. The women went off to tell the disciples what they saw, but the disciples did not believe them. Peter and John ran to the tomb and found that it was empty. Jesus appeared to the women and then later to Peter. He appeared to some of the disciples on the road to Emmaus and then later to 10 of the 11 remaining disciples, but Thomas was missing. He later appeared to all 11 disciples, which finally caused Thomas to believe that Jesus rose from the dead. Jesus remained on earth for 40 days after his resurrection and continued to appear to other disciples. When he was about to ascend back to heaven, he commissioned his disciples to tell the whole world about his life, death, and resurrection. With that, he ascended into the sky, until a cloud hid him from their sight.